All right, here we go. Welcome to week 11. This week we are starting Unit 3 and dealing with the first of the principal constitutional institutions of the federal government, Congress, which along with the executive branch are the political branches of the federal government, as the judiciary and the federal bureaucracy are uniquely supposed to be, after their fashion, apolitical. We'll talk about what that means next week. Uh, Chapter 9 introduces students to the Congress and deals with issues like the qualifications and the terms of office for members of the House of Representatives and the Senate. So how old do you have to be to serve in the House of Representatives? What about the Senate? How long are the terms of office for House members versus senators? How does the length of a politician's term of office influence the way they relate to their constituencies and to decision making and to the office itself? Students will also learn how the two houses of Congress are organized and the specific powers of each body. For example, the House has a special responsibility for originating all revenue bills, while the Senate has the constitutional role to advise and consent on key executive branch and judicial appointments. Both houses of Congress have oversight authority, which means that they can call hearings, subpoena witnesses, and publicize problems regarding legislation and exposing corruption. Recently, the Senate Intelligence Committee engaged in an investigation about allegations that a foreign government had tampered with the 2016 elections, presidential elections. The House Intelligence Committee similarly opened an investigation, but its efforts have been hampered by partisan conflicts. Um, the you know Both the House and the Senate play a role in the impeachment process, with the House bringing articles of impeachment, and the Senate acting as the decider as to whether or not a person, a federal judge or a president in this case, or a vice president, would be removed from office. Another important issue addressed in this chapter is gerrymandering, which is an age-old practice of state legislatures drawing federal and state electoral boundaries in ways that benefit one political party. The use of computer technology has enabled very aggressive gerrymandering, and now there are multiple instances in contemporary politics where the party controlling state governments has so aggressively gerrymandered their federal electoral districts for the House of Representatives that it has yielded patently undemocratic outcomes. Um, in North Carolina, for example, the House turnout for federal elections was roughly equivalent, but Republicans ended up winning 10 out of 13 total seats. A GOP legislator who helped draw the boundaries claimed that he drew the 10-3 districts because he couldn't figure out a way to draw 11-2 districts, which again, kind of illustrates just how partisan things have gotten. A similar situation occurred in Maryland, where Republicans won 37% of the federal congressional vote, but only got one legislative seat, because Democrats dominated the state level and they deliberately drew district boundaries to diffuse or crack Republican voting strength. The Supreme Court recently decided that partisan gerrymandering was bad, but that it presented political questions beyond the scope of the courts. So, what are the likely consequences of that decision? Okay. Um, One possible outcome, I can tell you, is that legal decisions on redistricting will be pushed down to the state courts, and state Supreme Courts will become the arbiter of whether or not partisan gerrymandering crosses a line. In 2018, the state Supreme Court in Pennsylvania handed down a decision that mandated the redrawing of federal House district lines, ruling that the Republican-drawn maps violated the Pennsylvania Constitution, guaranteeing free and fair elections. And as a result, the Pennsylvania's House caucus went from 12 Republicans to 6 Democrats to a 9-9 split in 2018, which almost certainly more accurately reflected the contested nature of Pennsylvania electoral politics. If you don't know, there are roughly 500,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans in Pennsylvania, but their votes are naturally kind of packed into the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh metropolitan areas. So this week, again, we just have the 3 assignments. So we have the forum and the study guide for you to work on, and then the Chapter 9 quiz. Let's have a great week.